Inventory EOCs, starting from question number 1. Inventory cost is least likely to include what? Inventory cost is least likely to include what? Production related storage cost, the cost of storage for raw material, for work in process. Yes, it's a part of product cost. Cost incurred as a result of normal wastage of material, the normal wastage that is expected to occur, it's a part of product cost. Transportation cost of shipping inventory to customers. Now this is the distribution cost. Distribution of finished goods. Once the goods are completed, once they are ready, nothing can be capitalized. Whether you store them in a specific warehouse, the cost for that warehousing is not a production cost. Goods are completed. Now this delivery to the customer is for the completed goods. So this cannot be made a part of product. So yes, you're right, it's C. C cannot be capitalized. Next question. Mustard Seed PLC adheres to IFRS. It recently purchased inventory for 100 million euros and spent 5 million euros for storage prior to selling the goods. Right? The amount it charged to inventory expense in million euros was closest to. Now interesting. It doesn't appear that he is a manufacturer. He just buys and sells. He's a retailer. He buys and sells. So if he bought goods worth 100 million which were perfectly ready to be sold, he arranged for a warehouse, he put those goods in the warehouse, so the rent of or the storage cost for the warehouse is not for the production purpose. It cannot be capitalized. Since it cannot be capitalized, it has to be expensed because it is the cost specifically for storage of the finished goods. So the cost of the material, the cost of the inventory will only be 100 million euros. This 5 million cannot be capitalized because the goods are completed, finished. So that makes B to be the correct option, and B it is. Next. Carrying inventory at value above its historical cost would most likely be permitted if, normally we have studied two systems, either it's going to be cost versus NRV, whichever is lower, or the LCM rule, under which we compare cost with the designated market price. And what is designated market price? The middle of these three circles, NRV, replacement cost, NRV minus normal profit margin. Whichever of these is lower is considered the base. But this is a unique situation. Carrying inventory at a value above its historical cost would most likely be permitted when the inventory was held by a producer of agriculture products. This is true. Under IS 41, which you don't need to know, is the standard specifically relates to agri products. It sets out the accounting for agricultural activity. Basically the transformation of biological assets like plants and animals into agricultural produce. So this is specifically the standard studied in ACC and CA and CP, of course, not in CFA. So under IS 41, yes, it's permissible. Under IS 41, inventory can be reported at above historical cost. Financial statements were prepared using US GAAP. US GAAP has similar requirement as IFRS, so it's not specifically related to US GAAP. IFRS and US GAAP, they have similar treatment of agriculture products or agriculture produce. So this is not specifically right. The change resulted from reversal of previous write-down. Previous write-down is only permitted under IFRS, and previous write-down reversal doesn't mean that it has to be more than the previous, whatever was written down lastly, reversal cannot be more than what was previously written down. So it cannot be more than the historical cost. So that makes A to be the correct option. Now we are talking. A retail company is comparing different approaches to valuing inventory. The company has one product that sells for $50. We have been given the units purchased, 1,000 this, and these were the purchase prices, and the units sold at this $50 price. Selling price was same. Now what are we required to do? We have also been given different inventory valuation basis. Sale is same under all these three systems. Perpetual LIFO. What is perpetual? Where every buying and selling is seen separately. We'll do it now. Periodic LIFO and perpetual FIFO. Ending inventory under periodic LIFO is 16. Ending inventory under perpetual FIFO is 13,600. We have been given CGS under these two systems. Gross profit and inventory turnover ratio has also been given. What exactly are we required to calculate in the question number 4? It says, what is the value of ending inventory for the first quarter if the company uses perpetual LIFO? Now you're going to see what do we do under perpetual LIFO. I'm going to solve it under both systems, perpetual and periodic LIFO. You will see the difference. Let us first find the answer. We are going to calculate under perpetual LIFO. Perpetual means every transaction is matched. Every purchase, every sale will update your records. Inventory will always give you updated information. Now, we're talking about perpetual LIFO, last in, first out. You bought 100 units or 1000 units at 20 each, and you sold 500 units. Whatever the selling price, that's not the matter, because we are, I think, looking for what? We are looking for inventory valuation, not CGS. Inventory valuation. Inventory valuation under perpetual LIFO. Now, 1000 units at second gen, we sold 500 units. It means the remaining balance is 500 at 20 each. Okay. Then on 16th Feb, we bought 1000 units at 18 each. And then we sold 1200 units. Now, since it's LIFO, last in, first out. Last in, first out. So these 1200 units will be given out of first these 1000 units, last in, first out. Now, since we have more 200 units required, those 200 units then will be given out of these 500, so leaving only 300 units at the rate of 20 each. Order fulfilled. Order fulfilled. Now, on 13 March, we bought 1000 units again, and then we sold 500 units. Since it's last in, first out, so we are going to sell these 500 units from these 1000, last in, first out. They are sold. Order fulfilled. What is left with us now? 500 units at the rate of 17 and 300 units at the rate of 20. 500 at the rate of 17 gives you 8500 and 300 at the rate of 20 gives you 6000. So the total value under perpetual LIFO is going to be 14500 and 14508 it is. Now I am going to, we got the result. Now let us do it using LIFO periodic. Under LIFO periodic, you know what you do? You don't go for each buy and sell. What you see is the total units bought, 3000. Total units sold, 2200, right? So you bought 3000, you sold 2200. It means the closing stock must be 800 units. How it is valued? Last in, first out. Under periodic method, these 800 units are valued from your earliest purchases at the rate of 20. You multiply 800 with 20, you get simply 800 multiplied by 20. So 800 multiplied by 20 give you $16,000. This $16,000 is under LIFO periodic. Under periodic method, we simply take all the receipt and all the issues in a single go, and then we calculate in the reverse order. So it means last in, first out, all the sales were from the latest purchases. Our closing stock must be from our most previous items. So 8,000 multi. This is called LIFO periodic. Now, the next part, it says which inventory accounting method results in the lowest inventory turnover ratio for the first quarter. Inventory turnover is equal to CGS divided by the closing inventory. Since we can't calculate average, so we'll use this formula, CGS upon inventory. So which of these methods gives you the lowest inventory turnover? This is the formula we will apply, and we have the numbers now. See, this was periodic FIFO 16,000 we just calculated a little while ago. But perpetual LIFO gives you 14,500. So remember, gentlemen, an important point to remember. Perpetual LIFO and periodic LIFO, they usually give different results. But perpetual FIFO and periodic FIFO, they always give the same result. That's why whenever it's FIFO, writing perpetual periodic won't make any difference. They are the same. Right? So we have to calculate the inventory turnover, which is equal to CGS, which is given here 41,400. 41,400 divided by either this or this or this. We have three denominators, 13,600, 16,000 and 14,500. Using this will give us, this is the lowest value. Giving this as our denominator, this will give us the highest inventory turnover. 16,000 is the highest denominator. This will give us the lowest inventory turnover. And this number is somewhere between these two. So here you will get some average. So using FIFO perpetual will give you the highest inventory turnover. Using periodic LIFO will give you the lowest inventory turnover. And perpetual LIFO will give you somewhere in between. What we were looking for, our question said, which of the inventory counting method results in the lowest inventory turnover for the first quarter? The lowest inventory turnover will come with the highest denominator, that is periodic LIFO, and periodic LIFO must be your answer, that is A, and A it is. Next, during the period of rising prices, unit cost is increasing, prices are increasing. A company using FIFO, this is our cost flow assumption, first in, first out. When the prices are rising and the company uses FIFO, what will happen to current ratio, inventory turnover, gross profit margin? Go step by step. When the prices are increasing, you are using FIFO. FIFO means first in, first out. You charge your older, lower cost items to your CGS. Your CGS would be lowered. Some people might have memorized some keywords to, but I recommend this approach where you know the actual dynamics, how things change. When the prices are increasing and you use FIFO cost flow assumption, your older, lower costs are charged to production. Lower cost to production means low CGS. This lower CGS will give you higher gross profit, and this higher gross profit will give you higher net income. Higher net income will give you higher equity number. So regarding gross profit margin under FIFO would be higher. But we are looking for something that is lower. Now let us calculate inventory turnover. Under FIFO, when the prices are increasing, your closing stock will be your latest purchases, which is at higher price. Your closing stock would be at a higher number. Having a higher closing stock means your CGS divided by closing stock, a higher denominator, will cause this ratio to fall. Your inventory turnover would be lower. Why? Because closing stock is higher comparatively compared to LIFO. So this would result in lower inventory turnover. Now we have the current ratio. Since your closing stock is higher, this will result in higher current assets. When the current assets are higher, your current ratio, which is the fraction of current assets upon current liabilities, higher current assets means the current ratio would be higher. Gentlemen, this is the success. 90%, 95% of your success is embedded in questions. No matter you memorize entire content of the curriculum, you cannot pass. That's my experience the last 20 years. Professional certifications require practice on exam type questions. Reading text, memorizing theory will not help you qualify certification, professional certification. I'm not talking of MBAs or MPhils or PhDs. Professional certification has different dynamics. The sooner you realize this, the better. See, now this is not there in the books. This is what you learn through practicing questions. Now we are sure the current ratio is up now. We are absolutely sure that the inventory turnover will fall because of higher closing stock. That will make B to be the correct option. And B it is. LIFO reserve is most likely to increase when? We just glided through the learning outcome statements. Now you see how we apply it here. We know LIFO reserve is the difference between FIFO based inventory and the LIFO based inventory. This is what you call the LIFO reserve. Okay. LIFO reserve is likely to increase when either FIFO goes up or LIFO goes down. We have to make the difference big. So when this difference will be enhanced, when the LIFO reserve will increase, when the price increase, when the prices go up under FIFO method, your older costs are charged to production. That means your CGS will be lowered. When your CGS will be lowered, your gross profit will be higher, net profit will be higher. That's another. We want to see from the point of view of the stock. So your closing stock will consist of the latest purchases, which is the higher price. Resultantly, your FIFO closing stock goes up. Your FIFO inventory would be higher. And when your FIFO inventory is higher, your LIFO reserve would be higher. So when the costs are increasing, prices are increasing, FIFO inventory would be higher. Having higher FIFO inventory will increase the gap between FIFO and LIFO based inventory. Resultantly, your LIFO reserve would increase. Now that's the reason. You won't get it from the book. A is the result. Next, if inventory unit costs are increasing, prices are going up from period to period, a LIFO liquidation is most likely to result in what? What is LIFO liquidation? LIFO liquidation means older, lower price items are being sold. Your older layer of inventory at the lower cost are being sold. When you are charging lower cost items to your CGS falls. When CGS falls, your trading profit, gross profit goes up. Gross profit goes up, net profit goes up, retained earning goes up. So when LIFO liquidation occurs, it results in increase of what? It results in increase of gross profit. We just discovered that. A is the right answer. Next, a company using LIFO method reports the following in pounds. We have been given the CGS in 2018, 2017. We have been given ending inventories in LIFO based 2017, 2018, LIFO reserve last year, LIFO reserve current year. We need to find out the cost of goods sold under FIFO. CGS under FIFO. CGS under FIFO, we just learned the formula and it's right here. I just want to make sure it's on your screen, this one. Your FIFO CGS is equal to LIFO CGS minus change in LIFO reserve. If you know your formula, you just have to plug it in. Simply take your CGS, which is 50,800, minus change in LIFO reserve. What is change in LIFO reserve? Closing LIFO reserve minus opening LIFO reserve. Change means closing minus opening. So 50,800, 4320 less 2600 will give you 1720. 5080 less 1720 gives you the FIFO CGS, that is 49,080. Now you tell me, did it make sense here or there? When you apply the knowledge, cursory acquired knowledge, and apply it to the questions, it makes much more sense now. Now you have the numbers to enhance your understanding. That's much more than any theory would ever do. So we got our result. B is the right answer. Next, Eric used bookstore prepares its financial statement. Eric's used bookstore prepares financial statements in accordance with the IFRS. Inventory was purchased for £1 million. That's the acquisition price, and later marked down to 550. IFRS, don't forget that. One of the books, however, was later discovered to be a rare collection or collectible item, and the inventory is now worth an estimated 3 million. Now, this is the original cost of the inventory, which was written down to 550. Later, we discovered that some items are very valuable. Our inventory should be 3 million pounds. We can't go beyond 1 million. Remember, with our previous write-off, subsequent recovery cannot be more than the previous write-off. The inventory is most likely to be reported at this value, not above this. So it's going to be 1 million pound, and that makes B to be the correct option. Fernando Pasta purchased inventory and later wrote it down. Inventory written down. The current net realizable value is higher than the value when it was written down. Current NRV is higher than the previous value when it was written down, means the value has appreciated. Fernando's inventory balance will most likely be under IFRS. The subsequent write down, if the inventory was written down in 1 year, if the value is reversed, so the reversal can be made. Impairment loss or the write down can be reversed in the subsequent period, but not more than the previous write down. So under IFRS, it can be reversed. Only IFRS allows inventory write down reversal. Not under US GAAP, not under both, just under IFRS. So under IFRS, inventory can be subsequently reversed if the loss is recovered. So that makes A to be the correct option. We discussed this earlier. Now, A write down of value of inventory to its net realizable value will have positive effect on what? When you write down inventory, your current assets fall. When your current assets fall, it is bad for the balance sheet. Balance sheet will be negatively affected. So this is a wrong option. When you write off inventory write down, this write down is a loss for the company. So it is reflected badly on income statement, not positively. So your net income will fall. This is bad as well. Then it has to be C then. But why? We know inventory turnover is equal to CGS divided by average inventory. If inventory is being written down, inventory balance would be lowered. A lower denominator means a higher inventory turnover ratio, which is good. Inventory turnover means how many times do we sell our inventory 1 year. The higher the number, the better. So this is good. This is positive. That makes C to be the correct option. Now, for question 13 to 24, assume the companies use periodic inventory system, and there are all these questions assume periodic. First, Cinnamon Corporation started business in 2017 and uses the weighted average cost method. During 2017, it purchased 45,000 units of inventory at $10, at Euro 10, and sold 40,000 units for Euro 20. It means out of 45, 40 has been sold. So 5,000 remaining at the end of 2017. So this is your opening stock, 5,000 units at the rate of 10 euro each. In 2018, it purchased another batch of 50,000 units at the rate of 11 each. 50,000 units at the rate of Euro 11 each. And then it sold 45,000 units at the rate of 22 euros. Fine. What are we required to calculate? It's 2018 cost of sales. Don't forget, it's a weighted average cost method. Under weighted average cost method, these are the two set of items you have. 5,000 units at the rate of 10 each. That's your opening stock. Further 50,000 units were purchased at the rate of 11 each. This will give you the total value of the goods that was available. And how many units do they make up? 50 plus 5. 55,000 units. If you calculate the weighted average, this is the weighted average. It will give you 10.909. Now, if you want to calculate CGS, how many units did you sell? 45,000. So CGS will be 45,000 multiplied by 10.909. That will give you CGS. If you are required to calculate the closing stock, out of 55, 45 have been sold. Closing stock is 10,000 units to be valued at the rate of 10.909. This is how we value CGS and closing stock under weighted average. We calculate a single rate and it is applicable both on CGS and closing stock. So multiplying 45,000 with the 10.909 will give you 490,909. If given in thousands, it's going to be 491. That makes B to be the correct option. And B it is. Put your efforts in the right direction. And this is the right direction. Next, Zimt AG started business in 2017. Still this assumption continues. Companies use periodic inventory system. Zimt AG started business in 2017 and uses the FIFO method. During 2017, it purchased 45,000 units of inventory at $10. Data is the same, just the name of the company has been changed. I think yes. What's the ending inventory under FIFO? I told you, and I will tell you again, FIFO are the same. Means FIFO perpetual is equal to FIFO periodic. There is no difference. You will always get the same number. Try it out anytime. So that's why I just said FIFO. I need to find ending FIFO inventory. So I just need to see what was the level of our opening stock. We had 5,000 in the opening stock. We bought 50,000 units, meaning thereby the total stock available for sale was 55. Out of this 55, 45,000 has been sold, giving you the $10,000 units as a closing stock. Since it's first in, first out. First in, first out means the oldest prices are charged to CGS. Your closing stock is valued at the latest prices. What's the latest price you have? 11 euros per unit. 11 euros per unit is the latest price, first in, first out chart to CGS. Latest prices are used to value your closing stock. That gives you 110,000. That makes 110. C to be the correct option. Next, Zimt AG uses FIFO. Okay, let's write it down. Zimt uses FIFO. And Nutmeg uses LIFO. Okay. Compared to the cost of replacing the inventory, called replacement cost under the US GAAP, during the periods of rising prices are rising. The cost of sale reported by Zimt and Nutmeg, we have to analyze. A good question. When the prices are rising, Zimt uses FIFO. So under FIFO, older, lower prices are charged to CGS, hence CGS is lowered. CGS is too low. Why? Because older prices are being charged to CGS. CGS is at older prices, lower prices, so CGS is too low. Nutmeg uses LIFO. LIFO means latest prices, higher prices. Latest prices, higher prices are charged to CGS. Hence CGS is higher, not higher than the current replacement inventory. So CGS and Nutmeg would be higher. And when we compare it with the replacement cost of the inventory, so you can say that the Nutmeg LIFO is CGS is closed or approximates the current replacement cost. So for this one, Zimt is too low, agree. CGS for Zimt is low compared to the current replacement cost. Nutmeg is too low, no. Nutmeg is too high, no. It is high, but it is not more than the replacement cost. It approximates the current replacement cost, right? So don't be just confused with the CGS is going up, so it should be too high. Nutmeg, we are talking in comparative terms. Replacement cost wise, the cost of goods sold of Nutmeg will be approximate to the cost of replacing inventory now. So don't take too high, it's wrong. This is absolutely correct. Higher prices mean the older, lower cost items are being charged to CGS. So CGS would be too low in comparison to the current replacement cost. That makes A to be the correct option. You will never learn this from book. Compared to the cost of replacing the inventory during the periods of rising prices, the inventory balance reported by, we needed that, we can do it again. Zimt uses FIFO and Nutmeg uses LIFO. Prices are increasing during the period of rising prices. When the prices are increasing, we are talking about the ending inventory now. First and first out mean the older, lower prices are charged to CGS. Your closing stock would be from the latest price. I mean, closing stock would be higher, or it will be close to the current replacement cost. What about Nutmeg? Last in, first out. Latest higher value prices are being charged to production. Your closing stock will be composed of the older, lower prices. Closing stock would be lower for Nutmeg. Zimt is too high, not too high. It's related to the current replacement cost. We can't say it's too high. Yes, closing stock for Nutmeg will be too low because the older, lower cost items have been charged to older, lower cost items are part of cost of sales. The latest items at a higher price, they have been charged to CGS. So that is true. Nutmeg closing stock is too low because it is from the older prices which are lower than the current replacement cost. So that is the correct option. B. Next, like many technology companies, Techno Tools operates in an environment of declining prices. Prices are falling. Its reported profits will tend to be highest if it accounts for which of the inventory methods? Let us try first FIFO. When prices are falling, company uses FIFO. It means the older prices, higher prices are charged to CGS, which are higher prices. Lower prices are a part of closing stock, and old higher prices are a part of CGS. CGS is higher. When CGS is higher, your gross profit is lower, your net profit is lower, your retained earnings and equity is lower, right? So we are looking for the highest profit. So it means FIFO is not going to help on this. Cross. Let's do it for LIFO now. Prices are falling. Under LIFO cost flow assumption, when the prices are falling, latest lowered prices are charged to CGS. Lowered prices when charged to CGS will reduce the CGS, thereby increasing your gross profit, your net profit, your retained earnings, your equity. Correct. Look no further. This is the right option. When the prices are falling, profit under LIFO would be higher. You can make a summary of all these for memorization. Well, it's your choice. It will work. It will work. But I recommend this old conventional approach when you have absolute conviction that what you're doing is right. This way. B is the right answer. Compared to using the weighted average cost flow method to account for inventory during the period in which prices are generally rising, the current ratio of company using FIFO. Prices are rising. Our cost flow assumption is FIFO. You can use your shortcut, but I will use my conventional way. It makes me happy. So first in, first out, prices are rising. It means you are charging your lower, cheaper prices to CGS. Your CGS is lowered. Lower CGS will means more profit, more net profit, more retained earning, blah, blah. We are looking for current ratio. So for this, since your CGS is lowered based on older prices, your current high prices will be reflected in closing stock. Having high closing stock means more current assets. Having more current assets means more current ratio, and this would give you a higher current ratio. Absolutely convinced without any ratta that it's the right answer, and that it is. So this flow based upon the dynamics behind these assumptions will always help you to get right answer. Next, 19th. Zimt AG wrote down the value of its inventory in 2017 and reversed the write down in 2018. Definitely would have been IFRS. Compared to the ratios that would have been calculated if write down had never occurred, but since it occurred, Zimt reported 2017 current ratio, gross margin, and inventory turnover. We'll have to see them from all these perspectives. Since the inventory was written down, the reported inventory was written down, so what it will do, first let us see the current ratio. Current ratio is the current assets upon current liabilities. Since the inventory was written down, reported in 2017, your current assets are lower. Having lower current assets without the write-off means your current ratio would be lower. But we have it here too high. Wrong. Next aspect. Since we have written down the inventory, this write-off is charged considered as a loss. So your gross margin will be lower as well, not high. Then it left only C. Let us convince ourselves. We know inventory turnover is equal to CGS upon stock, average stock. Since stock was written down, stock number was lower. Having a lower denominator means the ratio would be high. So inventory turnover was too high. Reported in 2017. That makes C to be the correct option. It was, remember, do not get confused. It was specifically asking about reported 2017 versus had there been no change. Since reported means inventory was written down, so we get these numbers, and accordingly we got C to be our correct option. Sometimes we might get lost in verbosity. Next question, 20th. Zimt AG wrote down the value of its inventory, and I think it's the same question, but this time we need compared to the results of the company would have reported if the write-down hadn't occurred. Zimt reported profit was overstated. I think we did it previously. Gross margin was too high. It was wrong here. Now, what do we have here? Compared to the results of company would have reported if the write-down had never occurred. Zimt reported 2018. Now, this is next year. Previously, it was 2017. So, do not take this number here for 2018 because 2018 is totally different. Now, what happened in 2018? Reported results. Since closing stock has gone up, so after the write down, your CGS for 2018 will go down. This reduction in CGS will mean the gross profit for 2018 will go up, Gross profit means more operating profit, more net income. It means the profit, reported profit under 2018 was overstated. One can't say overstated, it was just comparative terms. It was written off versus not written off. So what was reported compared to not written off means your profit would be higher. That makes A to be the correct option. Next, compared to the company that uses FIFO method during periods of rising prices, a company that uses LIFO method will most likely appear more or liquid, efficient, profitable. The right way to do it, unless you have memorized some shortcuts, this is the conventional, traditional way of doing it. So we have FIFO and LIFO, and we have three measures to test. First is liquidity, then efficiency, and then profitability. Quickly, you can do it. It will not take more than 1 minute. Now, if the prices are rising, yes, rising prices. When the prices are rising, you charge your older, lower cost to CGS, means your CGS is lower, meaning thereby your profit is higher. And the other aspect to it is your closing stock would be higher. Why? Because it consists of the latest purchases. Under FIFO, LIFO would be totally opposite. Under LIFO, it will be CGS would be higher, and your profit would be lower, and your closing stock would be lower. Now, incorporating these into this will help us. Since closing stock is higher, so under FIFO, liquidity would be higher. Here, the closing stock is lower, so liquidity will be lower. What about efficiency? Efficiency means inventory turnover. CGS upon inventory. Since your inventory balance is higher here, your inventory turnover would be lower. It will be higher here, opposite. Profit under FIFO is higher, profit under LIFO is lower. Now you have the complete matrix. Do whatever you want to do it with. So we are looking for more liquid. Which one? LIFO method is not more liquid. It is not more profitable. See, not more liquid, not more profitable. Yes, it is efficient. Unless you have a shortcut, this is the way. And I think it took less than 1 minute. We got the result. B is the right answer. Conventional, traditional approach. Next, Netmug Incorporated uses LIFO method to account for inventory. During years in which the inventory units cost are generally rising, prices are increasing. And don't forget, our cost flow assumption is LIFO. Prices are increasing. Under LIFO, you charge your latest higher prices in production or in cost of sales. Your CGS goes up. And when your CGS goes up, your gross profit goes down, and your net profit goes down, your retained earning goes down, your equity goes down. So what are we looking for? In which the company purchases more inventory than it sells to customer, its reported gross profit margin will be lowered. Lower than it would be if the company uses FIFO. Got it. A is the right answer. Next, compared to using FIFO to account for inventory during the period of rising prices, a company using LIFO method is most likely to report what? Similar idea. If the prices are increasing, you will charge your latest higher pricing to CGS. CGS is higher. This will result in lower net income. This will result in lower retained earning. This will result in lower taxes. What will be higher? Net income will be lower. We are looking for higher something. What is of higher? Let's see. Income taxes, lower. What would be higher? Cost of sales. See, once you develop the chain, you can swing anywhere across the chain and get your result. Last question from the series of these questions. Question 13 to 24 assume companies use periodic inventory. Carey Company adheres to US GAAP, whereas Jonathan Company adheres to IFRS. It is least likely, mind the word least likely, that Carey has reversed an inventory write down. Under the US GAAP, reversal is not allowed. Yes, under the US GAAP, it is least likely that Carey might have reversed the inventory write down. This is least likely. Then rest of them must be likely. Jonathan has reversed inventory write down. Since Jonathan has is following IFRS, so under IFRS, reversal of inventory write down is allowed. Jonathan Carey both the use of FIFO accounting method. He can use FIFO weighted average because they are allowed under the IFRS. So it's true. So this one was least accurate. In fact, it's false. And we were looking for false, so that makes A to be the correct option. Question. Next question, number 25. Company A adheres to US GAAP and Company B adheres to IFRS. Which of the following is most likely to be disclosed on the financial statements of both companies? Any material income resulting from the liquidation of LIFO inventory. Liquidation of LIFO inventory, this is something you will find in those financial statements that are GAAP compliant, the US based or the companies that report under the US GAAP. So this is only possible in case of US GAAP, right? Not for both. It's only for company A. We're looking for a situation where that is applicable for both. The amount of inventories recognized as an expense during the period. Inventories recognized as an expense basically is CGS. Inventories that are sold, they become a cost. An inventory is an asset as long as it's in your warehouse. Once it is sold, that inventory becomes a cost to be compared against the revenue. That's called CGS. So this is true under US GAAP as well as IFRS. What about C? The circumstances that led to the reversal. Reversal is only relevant for IFRS because IFRS allows inventory write-down reversal. So A is relevant to US GAAP, C is relevant to IFRS, but B is relevant to both, and that's the reason it's your right answer. Next, which of the following most likely signals that a manufacturing company expects demand for its products to increase? In which of the situations a company expects an increase in its demand? A, finished goods inventory growing at a rate higher than sales. Things are bad. We expect demand to fall. That's why we have more finished goods inventories than the sales demand. This is an incorrect statement. Higher unit volumes of work in progress and higher raw material inventories. Why do we have higher balance of work in process or higher raw materials? Why? Because we expect that the sale is going to be higher. So in expectation of higher sales demand, we build up raw material inventories and work in process. This is the correct option. This is the correct option. B is the right answer. 27. Compared with a company that uses FIFO method during the period of rising inventory costs, a company using LIFO method will most likely appear what? Again, a conventional traditional approach I would always prefer. When the prices are increasing, we have two cost flow assumptions. It won't take more than 1 minute, please. Don't say it's a long process. For God's sake, many questions can be done with this way. So if the prices are increasing under FIFO method, you are charging lower older items to CGS. Your CGS is lowered. When CGS is lowered, your profit would be higher. When the profit is higher, means your higher cost prices are being charged to your closing stock. Your closing stock is higher. And you will have an opposite in LIFO. Opposite in LIFO, absolutely opposite. Cost of goods sold would be higher, your profit would be lower, your closing stock would be lower. Now do whatever you want. Do whatever you want to do with it. Now, during a period of rising unit inventory cost, a company using a LIFO method, this one, will do what? Will appear more liquid, not more liquid. Closing stock is lower, wrong. More profitable, no, profit is lower. Yes, more efficient. Why? Because the closing stock is lower. Inventory turnover is equal to CGS divided by closing stock. A lower closing stock means lower denominator. A lower denominator means higher inventory turnover. Absolutely convinced that it's B. And this is how your traditional conventional system will work. B is the right answer. Moving on. In a period of declining inventory unit cost, prices are falling and a constant or increasing inventory quantities. There is no LIFO liquidation. Which inventory method is most likely to result in higher debt to equity ratio? You cannot directly calculate unless we know what's the profit situation in all these. So we have these LIFO when the prices are decreasing means last in first out. You will charge lower cost, lower prices to CGS. Lower CGS means higher profit. And when you have higher profit, your debt to equity, profit is a part of equity. When there is higher profit, will be more equity. Having a higher denominator means debt to equity ratio will fall. You will have exactly opposite here. Your CGS would be higher, your profits would be lower. Having a lower profit means you have lower equity. Having lower equity, debt to equity ratio would be higher. Now, select the right option. Since we are looking for a high debt to equity, we are absolutely convinced it's B, and took us less than 1 minute to get the exact answer. Now we are talking. Now, here we go. This question relates to the next 6 or 7 questions, but for that we need to read the first given information. Hans Annan, a CFA, a food and beverage analyst, is reviewing Century Chocolate's inventory policies as a part of its evaluation of the company. Century Chocolate, based in Switzerland, manufactures chocolate products and purchases and sells other confectionery products to complement its chocolate line. Annan visited Century Chocolate's manufacturing facility. You are the analyst. You visited the company's facility last year. He learned that cocoa beans imported from Brazil represents the most significant raw material, and the work in progress inventory consists primarily of 3 items: roasted cocoa beans, a thick paste produced from beans called chocolate liquor, and a sweetened mixture that needs to be conched. It's a process that is used in preparing chocolates, to produce chocolates. On the tour, Annan learned that the conching process ranges from a few hours for lower quality products to 6 days for the highest quality chocolates. Okay. How is it relevant to our question? Let's read the whole information. While there, Annan saw the facility's climate controlled area where manufactured finished products, cocoa and chocolate, and purchased finished goods are stored prior to shipment to the customer. After touring the production facilities, Annan, the food and beverage analyst, had a discussion with the Century Chocolate CFO regarding the types of costs that are included in each inventory category. Okay. Annan has asked his assistant Joanna Kern to gather some preliminary information regarding Century Chocolate's financial statements and inventories. He also asked Kern to calculate the inventory turnover ratios for Century Chocolates and another chocolate manufacturer for the most recent 5 years. Annan does not know Century Chocolate's most direct competitor, so he asked Kern to do some research and select the most appropriate company for the ratio comparison. Ratios do not speak for themselves unless you have some suitable comparator. So this is what we have read so far. Then it says, Kern reports back that Century Chocolates prepares its financial statement in accordance with the IFRS. This is an important piece of information. She tells Annan that the policy footnotes that raw materials and purchased finished goods are valued at purchase cost. Raw material is reported at purchase cost. Purchased finished goods. Sometimes a manufacturer buys raw materials, converts that raw material into finished good. That's the normal manufacturing process. But sometimes we also buy finished goods like a retailer, like a merchandiser. It is normally done in manufacturing businesses in order not to send your customers empty-handed. So your raw material and your purchased finished goods are valued at purchase cost, whereas work in progress and manufactured finished goods are valued at production cost. Makes perfect sense. Purchased items at purchase cost, manufactured items at production cost, including raw material, finished direct labor, your variable overhead and fixed overhead. Raw material inventories and purchased finished goods are accounted for at cost using FIFO, first in first out method. And the weighted average cost method is used for other inventories. Right? An allowance is established when the net realizable value of any inventory item is lower than the value calculated above. Under the IFRS as well as US GAAP, under IFRS we compare cost with NRV. Under the US GAAP we compare for LIFO system only. Cost, carrying cost versus the designated market price. Any differential in case of loss is either directly written off in inventory or through a valuation allowance. Valuation allowance is a contra account that shows reduction in the value of inventory due to the difference between cost and NRV. right? Karen provides Anand with the selected financial statements and inventory data for Century Chocolates shown in Exhibit 1 through 5. We will see. Next, the ratio exhibit that we will see. Karen compares Century Chocolates inventory turnover ratios to those of Godfons Goodies, a US based company. Now, gentlemen, remember, Century Chocolates is an IFRS based company. It values its inventory using FIFO. Now we are comparing it with a firm that is US based. The name of this firm is Gordon's Goodies, a US based firm. Anand returns the exhibit and tells Karen to select different competitor that reports using IFRS rather than US GAAP, because IFRS versus IFRS comparison makes sense. IFRS versus US GAAP, there will be some adjustment needed, so it will take more effort. So he says, find some other competitor that is IFRS compliant. So during this initial review, Anand asked Karen why she has not indicated whether Century Chocolate uses a perpetual or periodic inventory system. Karen replies that she learned that Century Chocolate uses a perpetual system, but she did not include this information in her report because inventory values would be the same under either perpetual or periodic inventory system. Anand tells Karen that she is wrong and directs her to research the matter. While Karen is revising her analysis, Anand reviews the most recent month's cocoa market review from International Cocoa Organization. He is drawn to the statement that ICCO daily prices, average price in both future markets, has reached 29 years high in the US dollar terms and 23 high in SDR terms, meaning thereby the prices are increasing. Anand makes a note that he will need to factor the potential continuation of this increasing price trend in his analysis. Now we have been given certain exhibits also. In this exhibit you can see we have been given the profitability or profit statement, income statement for both year 2018 and 17, and we have also been given the balance sheet for both years. This is exhibit 1 and 2. Then in third exhibit we have been given the details of 3 types of inventories: raw materials, work in process and finished goods. And we also been given the allowance for a write down of inventory to net realizable value. Negative means that inventories were reduced by this number. This is the total inventories at net of allowances. Then exhibit 5 contains FIFO cost of inventory at both these years' ends. We've also been given the cost per unit last year and the cost per unit current year. NRV for both years is also given. For 2017, NRV was 3.95. The cost was higher. It means there must have been some write down in 2017. And then later on, NRV went up to 4.20, more than the cost. So it might involve some inventory reversal. We'll see. Now, we also been given the purchase and sales detail date wise. Purchase, sale, all this. We'll see as we proceed. First question says, the cost least likely to be included by the CFO as inventory. The storage cost for the chocolate liquor, it's raw material. Storage cost for raw material is inventoriable cost. It is capitalized as a part of inventory. So it will be considered as an inventoriable cost and made a part of. We are going to look for the one that is least likely. Excise taxes paid to the government of Brazil for the cocoa beans, since it's related to the purchase. Custom duties, freights, all the cost incurred in bringing the inventory to the warehouse to bring them there in present condition and location, they're all capitalized. So it will be capitalized as well. Storage cost for chocolate and purchase finished goods awaiting shipment to the customers. The storage cost for finished goods that are to be shipped to the customer is a distribution cost, not the cost that can be capitalized. So C is the right answer. C is the one that is least likely to be included as a part of inventory costs, and C it is. Next, what is most likely justification for Century Chocolate's choice of inventory valuation method for its purchased finished goods? If you remember from the given scenario, the purchased finished goods are valued at FIFO. So what is the most likely reason for using FIFO? It is preferred method under IFRS. It is acceptable but not preferred. Not a valid option. It allocates the same paper unit cost to both cost of sales and inventory. This is wrong. This is under weighted average. Weighted average calculates a rate that is applicable both to CGS and your inventory. Wrong. So then it has to be C then. Ending inventory reflects the cost of goods purchased most recently. Under FIFO, your prior purchases, your previous costs, they are charged to CGS, and your latest purchases, they become part of your ending inventory or ending stock. So this is correct. Ending inventory reflects the cost of goods purchased most recently under FIFO. This is correct, and that makes C to be our correct option. Next it says, in Ken's comparative ratio analysis, the 2008 inventory turnover ratio for the Century chocolate, we have to calculate the inventory turnover. We need to go back to the information. This is your CGS for 2018. We know inventory turnover is equal to CGS upon average inventory. Now this is the total inventories net of allowance, 8100 for 2018 in millions Swiss francs and 7039 in 2017. So if you add these two and divide with 2, you'll get the average inventory number. So 8100 plus 7039 divided by 2 gives you 7569.5. Now this will serve as a denominator in the ITU formula. We have CGS, that is 41043 divided by the average inventory, that is just calculated, it was 7509.5, and its simplification will give you 5.422. So that's your inventory turnover. 5.422, that makes B to be the correct option. Next, the most accurate statement regarding Annon's reasoning for requiring Ken to select competitors that report under IFRS for comparative purpose is that under US GAAP, fair values are used to value inventory? No. Either we have NRV or the historical cost or the designated market price determined under the LIFO rule using either NRV or replacement cost or NRV minus normal profit margin, which you call floor. So we don't have this option. This is not a possibility. The LIFO method is permitted to value inventory. Now that will cause problem. If you select a comparator that uses LIFO method, so comparing our numbers with them will cause a problem. That would make comparison difficult. And this is the reason why Annon has asked Karen to use some other competitor rather than some US based organization. The specific identification method is permitted to value inventory. This is permissible under both IFRS and US GAAP. So this would make comparison rather easy. So why we want to select the one that follows IFRS, just we want to make sure that both comparable bases are same. So for comparative purpose, the choice of competitor that reports IFRS, that is what will help us in making some suitable comparison. So this is the reason. B is the right answer, and B it is. Next, Annon's statement regarding the perpetual and periodic inventory system is most significant when which of the following costing system is used? LIFO, FIFO, and specific identification. Remember, FIFO perpetual, FIFO periodic are same. Specific identification, perpetual and periodic are the same. It's the LIFO that can vary. LIFO perpetual and LIFO periodic are not always the same. Very rare when the prices are not changing that they will be same. Otherwise, LIFO periodic and LIFO perpetual are not same. So a statement is correct regarding LIFO, and that's why A is the right answer. Next, using the inventory record for purchased lemon drops shown in Exhibit 4, the cost of sales for 2018 will be closest to. Now this is your Exhibit 4, the record for purchased lemon drops. We had opening inventory, purchases, sales, again a purchase, sales, sales and purchase. What we are required to find out? CGS, cost of goods sold. So these are the items sold: 50, 35 and 100. A total of 185 units were sold. Since the company uses FIFO, it means first in first out. So these 185 units when sold, the first layer would have been these 100 units at the rate of 22. The next would be these 40 at the rate of 25, and then the remaining 45 balance would be sold out of this item at the rate of 30 out of these 70 units. So 45 at the rate of 30. So 100 times 22, that's 2200, 1000, and it's going to be 1350. Adding this all will give you the value of your CGS is going to be 4550. So I've just taken 185 units because these are the units sold at these costs. So this will give me the CGS under FIFO, and that should match with the given options. Let's see. Swiss francs 4550, that makes B to be our correct option. Next, ignoring any tax effects, the 2018 net realizable value reassessment for black licorice jelly beans will most likely result in what? Let us go back to the scenario. So this exhibit contains the Century Chocolate's net realizable value information for black licorice jelly beans. Licorice, basically it's an extract from the plant used as a flavoring agent. So this was the original cost. This was the NRV. So last year inventory would have been written down from 4.05 to 3.95. So what were the number of units? It was 92560, and the difference was 4.05 original cost versus NRV 3.95. So this would have given us a number. Let us calculate this one. It's $9,256. This was the previous write-off. Now what has happened? NRV has gone up in 2018 from 3.95 to 4.20. Right? Since the inventory was written down from 4.05 to 3.95, the reversal should not be more than this. So it's going to be same 4.05 less 3.95. And what are the number of units remaining in 2018? Just this difference. Even the NRV has gone up to 4.20. The reversal should only be for the previous write-down difference. That's 4.05 minus 3.95. Multiplying this with 77750 will simply give you $7,775. So this would be the write-down reversal in 2018. Let's see. So this reversal, this write-down reversal is recognized as a reduction in cost of sales in 2018, which means when the cost of sales for 2018 is lowered by 7775, your gross profit will go up. So the 2018 net realizable value reassessment for the black licorice jelly beans will most likely result in increase in gross profit because of lowered CGS by 7775. So that makes A to be the correct option, and A it is. If the trend noted in the ICCO report continues, that the prices are increasing, this is the trend, and Century Chocolate plans to maintain constant or increasing inventory quantities, and remember they use FIFO for inventory valuation. So the most likely impact on Century Chocolate's financial statements related to its raw materials inventory will be a cost of sales that more closely reflects current replacement cost. That would happen under LIFO. Under LIFO, your current costs are charged to CGS. Last in, first out. Not under FIFO. This is wrong. Under first in, first out, your older cost, they go to CGS. So this is a wrong statement. Then a higher allocation of total cost of goods sold available goes to the cost of sales. Wrong. Under FIFO, older, we just discussed, under FIFO, older, lower prices, they go to CGS. First in, first out. First lowered price item, they go to CGS. So CGS will be lowered, not higher. Not higher allocation. In fact, lower allocation to CGS. Now it has to be C then. A higher allocation of the total cost of goods available for sale to the ending inventory. Yes, when the prices are increasing and the company employs FIFO cost flow assumption, your CGS is lowered because of the older cost being charged to CGS, right? And this lower CGS will result in higher profitability. At the same time, your inventory will consist of latest prices. Your closing stock would be higher. So that makes C to be the correct option. Next question, 37 to 42. All these questions are based on this information. John Martinson CFA is an equity analyst with a large pension fund. His supervisor, Linda Packard, asked him to write a report on CARP Incorporated. CARP prepares its financial statement in accordance with the US GAAP. Packard is particularly interested in effects of the company's use of LIFO method to account for its inventory. For this purpose, Martinson collects the financial data presented in Exhibit 1 and 2. We have been given the balance sheet for 2 years, 2017 and 18, and we have been given the income statement including all these components, cost of sales, depreciation, etc. So these are the two observations. Specifically, Martinson finds the following information in the notes to the financial statements. The LIFO reserve as of 31st of December 2018 and 2017 was 155 and 117 million respectively, and the effective income tax rate applicable to CARP for 2018 and earlier period is 20%. Right. First question, if CARP had used FIFO instead of LIFO, it's basically financial statement conversions from LIFO to FIFO. So if CARP had used FIFO instead of LIFO, the amount of inventory reported as a part as of December 31st, 2018 would have been closest to what? Now, let me show you. Inventory under FIFO is equal to LIFO inventory plus closing LIFO reserve. You will use this formula to calculate your FIFO inventory, and you convert your LIFO inventory to FIFO inventory just by adding closing LIFO reserve. Okay, so this is your inventory at the end of 2018, and you just need to add the closing LIFO reserve, which is given right here. For 2018 it's 155, and for 2017 it was 117. So it's simply add 155 to it. 620 plus 155 should give you 775. This is your FIFO based closing stock. So inventory reported as of December 31st, 2018 would have been closest to 775 million. That makes C to be the correct option. Next, if CARP had used FIFO instead of LIFO, the amount of CGS reported by CARP for the year ended 31st December 2018 would have been closest to. Again, LIFO cost of goods sold can be converted to FIFO by adjusting for negative change in LIFO reserve. LIFO COGS minus change in LIFO reserve. Let us do it. Now this is the cost of sales under LIFO, CGS LIFO. We just have to deduct the change in LIFO reserve over the period. When you say change, that is closing balance minus opening balance of LIFO reserve. The closing balance of LIFO reserve was 155. The opening balance of LIFO reserve was 117. So their difference, whatever it comes, to be deducted from 2211, and this will give you finally a number 2173. This is your COGS, cost of goods sold, under FIFO. That's 2173. B should be the correct option, and B it is. Next, if CARP had used FIFO instead of LIFO, its reported net income for the year ended 31st of December 2019. We know how to convert our LIFO based net income to FIFO. You just have to adjust for increase in LIFO reserve or change in LIFO reserve more appropriately. Closing balance of LIFO reserve minus opening balance of LIFO reserve. And since you're talking about net income, it has to be reported after tax. So if you remember, your closing balance was 155 and opening balance of your LIFO reserve was 117, must be written after tax. And what is the tax rate? 20%. So multiplying it with 80%, that is 1 minus 20%, gives you after tax LIFO reserve. And your net income, let us go back to the information. Net income under LIFO method was 247. Let us do the working right here. 247 is the LIFO net income. To this we add after tax change in LIFO reserve. LIFO reserve closing balance was 155. Opening was 117. And it must be multiplied with 80%. So doing the computations will give you $277.4 million. This is your FIFO method net income. Are we required to calculate this, or did he ask us to calculate the difference? It says what would be the difference how would the income be different? How higher or lower? So you just need to calculate the difference. So we have the numbers here, 277.4 versus 247. So this difference of 30.4 million means your income under the FIFO method will be higher by 30.4 million. So this would be A. Next, 40th. If CARB had used FIFO instead of LIFO, CARB's retained earning as of 31st of December 2018 would have been higher by an amount of. So this is the arrangement we use. FIFO retained earnings is equal to LIFO retained earnings plus closing LIFO reserve. Since retained earnings, net income, they are all after tax. So we have to bring these numbers after tax as well. Just like in the previous case, change in LIFO reserve is after tax because net income is after tax, and change and retained earning also to be reported after tax. So that's why we multiplied with 1 minus tax rate. But if you just look at it, operating income, since it's a pre-tax income, for this we just have change in LIFO reserve. Operating income plus change in LIFO reserve. But net income is an after-tax number. But for this, we have to bring it after-tax basis, change in LIFO reserve into 1 minus tax. So remember, it's LIFO retained earning plus closing LIFO reserve after tax. So retained earning FIFO is equal to retained earning LIFO plus closing balance of LIFO reserve multiplied by 1 minus tax rate. So basically, this is the factor that causes the difference between these two retained earnings. Let us just calculate this one. So the closing balance of your LIFO reserve is 155. Take 155 million multiplied by 1 minus tax percent. Tax rate is 20%. So it's going to be 100 minus 20, 80%. So 155's 80% will give you 124 million. So that would be the difference in retained earning. Let's see. B. B is the right answer. Next, 41. If CARB had used FIFO instead of LIFO, which of the following ratios computed as of December 31st, 2018 would most likely have been lower? Since prices are increasing, higher pricing or higher prices under FIFO means your CGS would be composed of your oldest buyings at lower prices, so your CGS would be lower. Resultantly, your gross profit would be higher, your net income would be higher, means you will pay more tax. Higher tax payment would result in lower cash, and this lower cash feeds into your cash ratio. A lowered cash ratio, cash upon current liabilities, mean you will have this ratio lowered. So under FIFO, your cash ratio would be lowered. What about current ratio? Since your higher priced inventory is on the balance sheet, your current assets would be higher. Resultantly, your current ratio, current assets upon current liabilities, would be higher. And gross profit would be higher, that we have already discussed. So the only ratio that would be lower is your cash ratio, and that is it. Next, if CARB had used FIFO of LIFO, its debt to equity ratio computed as of 31st December 2018 would have been. We have just agreed that under FIFO, net income would be higher. Net income eventually becomes part of retained earnings, and retained earning is equity. So equity goes up. So debt to equity would be affected this way. Since your equity increases, denominator increases, this ratio will decrease. B. B is the right answer. Again, an extended question, 43 to 48. All these questions are related to this information. Robert Groff, an equity analyst, is preparing a report on Crux Corporation. As a part of his report, Groff makes a comparative financial analysis between Crux and its two main competitors, Rolby and MICO. Crux and MICO report under the US GAAP, as shown here, through LIFO and LIFO, whereas Rolby reports under the IFRS. Groff gathers information on Crux, Rolby, and MICO. The relevant financial information he compiles is in Exhibit 1. Some information on the industry is in Exhibit 2. So we have been given the comparatives of Crux, Rolby, and MICO. We have been given the gross inventory, valuation allowance, that is the reduction in the value because of difference between the designated market price and the cost under LIFO and LIFO, and for FIFO it is cost versus NRV. I'm sure you know. So this will give us the net inventory numbers. Then we've been given the total debt for all these three companies, total equity of these companies, shareholders equity, inventory gross last year, valuation allowance last year, and inventory net. Fine. Now we have also been given the income statement for 2016, 17 and 18 for Crux Incorporated. So we have been given revenues, cost of goods sold, and income statement. There's a very fine point here. It says that cost of goods sold is charged for inventory write-downs. Charge included in the cost of goods sold for inventory write-downs. 13 for 2018, 15 and 15 to 16. Now this does not match with the changes in the valuation allowance here. 20 to 23, the difference is 3, whereas the charge is 13. The reason, now this is the reason. This does not match the change in the inventory valuation allowance because, important point, the valuation allowance is reduced to reflect the valuation allowance attached to the item sold. Just like when we sell an item like a fixed asset, it is removed from the balance sheet and its related accumulated depreciation. Similarly, when an item is removed from inventory because it is sold, the valuation allowance attached to that item is removed as well. And valuation allowance is increased for additional necessary write-downs on the unit. So that's the reason this 13 will not match with the difference between valuation allowance last year and current year. Now we have been given the LIFO reserves for Crux because Crux uses LIFO, and for MICO because it uses LIFO as well. So whereas Rolby uses FIFO, that under FIFO there is no LIFO reserve, so that's why you don't see any LIFO reserve here. The last exhibit, exhibit 2, contains the price index for raw material and finished goods, and it is indicating that the prices are increasing for raw material and for finished goods as well. To compare the financial performance of three companies, decides to convert LIFO figures into FIFO figures and adjusts figures to assume no valuation allowance is recognized by any company. Means this valuation allowance will be reversed. After reading Groff's draft report, his supervisor Rachel Borogi asks him the following questions. 1. Which company's gross profit margin would best reflect current cost of the industry? We'll answer this question later. Question 2. Would Rolby's valuation method show a higher gross profit margin than Crux under inflationary, deflationary or stable price scenarios? And third, which group of ratios usually appear more favorable with an inventory write-down? Let us do the questions now. Crux inventory turnover ratio computed as of 31st December to next 18 after the adjustment of valuation allowance suggested by Groff is closest to. Okay, now here we go. We have the numbers here. We need to calculate the inventory turnover, that is CGS upon average inventory. We know the formula, so let us plug in the numbers. CGS upon average inventory. What is CGS? 3120. We have to make adjustment for the valuation allowance. This 13 million was charged against CGS and CGS was increased, so it has to be removed by deducting 13. And please remember, we have to convert the LIFO figures into FIFO figures, which means this CGS needs conversion to FIFO as well. So first 3120 less 13 to reverse the effect of valuation allowance. Then we know how to convert the CGS LIFO into FIFO by adjusting the LIFO number by change in LIFO reserve. What is the change in LIFO reserve? This is the closing balance of LIFO reserve, 55. And this is the opening balance of LIFO reserve, that is at 31st December 2017. So solving the numerator, 50, and this is 72. Solving the numerator, let us write down the denominator also. For denominator, we need to find the average inventory balance. This here is your gross inventory without the valuation allowance. As I said, we don't need to take the valuation allowance. So it's going to be 480 closing, and to this we need to add 55. This is the closing LIFO reserve plus opening inventory gross without the valuation allowance, 465, and to this 465 we add the opening LIFO reserve of 72. Now you simply divide it with 2 will give you the average number. So plugging in these numbers in the calculator, your numerator will give you 3124, and your denominator, the average inventory, now it's a FIFO based inventory, will give you 536. So its simplification will give you 5.83, and this 5.83 means B is your right answer. Next, Rolby's net profit margin for the year ended 31st December 2018 after the adjustment suggested by Groff is closest to. Going back to this information, this column is for Rolby, and the number for net income we have is 327. Since we need to reverse the impact of valuation allowance, this is 15 million, that is the valuation allowance. So first we need to calculate the revised net income. So revised net income will be 327, and we need to reverse this 15 million to net income. Since this number is pre-tax, net income is after tax, so we have to convert it into pre-tax basis by multiplying it with 1 minus 20%, or was it 30% here? Tax rate here was, I guess, 30%. Yes, 30%, exactly. So then this would give you 327 plus 15 times 70, that gives you 337.5. We need to calculate the net income percentage, that is net profit margin. So it is going to be 337.5 divided by sales revenue, that is 5442. That gives you 6.2%. 6.2% means B is the right answer. Next, 45. Compared with its unadjusted debt to equity ratio. After the adjustment, MICO debt to equity ratio as of 31st December 2018, after the adjustment suggested by Groff of reversing the valuation allowance, how will it be affected? We know debt to equity ratio means debt upon equity. Since there is no change in debt, and because of the reversal of valuation allowance would result in more profitability, we just calculated a little while ago. So increasing in equity, higher denominator means the ratio would be lowered. That makes A to be the correct option. Next, the best answer to Borghi's question number 1. And what was question number 1? Which company's gross profit margin would best reflect current cost of the industry? So which company's gross profit margin would best reflect current cost of industry? LIFO is used by Crux, is used by MICO's, and FIFO is used by Rolby's. Okay, since last in first out, these are your latest prices. They are being charged to CGS. So it means CGS is at current level for Crux and for MICO. So it means either A or C could be the result. Now there is a very fine point that we need to see here. A or C could be your right result. Going back to our given scenario and look at the LIFO reserve changes over the period. Look at for MICO. MICO's LIFO reserve is going up, whereas for Crux, the LIFO reserve is decreasing. So this decrease in LIFO reserve indicates that there is LIFO liquidation by Crux. This would distort gross profitability. So that means MICO would be a better option compared to Crux. So we will select MICO's because MICO's gross margin ratio best reflects the current gross profit margin of the industry. That makes C to be the correct option. Next, the best answer to Borghi's question number 2. And what was question number 2? Would Rolby's valuation method show a higher gross profit margin than Crux under inflationary, deflationary, or stable price scenario? So it's Rolby versus Crux. Remember, Crux uses LIFO, Rolby uses FIFO. So the question was, would Rolby's valuation method show a higher gross profit margin than Crux under inflationary, deflationary, or stable prices? Let us see them one by one. Let us go with the increase in price. That's normally what we do. Under FIFO, when the prices are increasing, your older, lower costs are charged to CGS, your CGS is lowered, hence you will have higher gross profit and higher net profit. That's your result. So Rolby valuation method 5.4, it will result in higher gross profits and higher net profit than Crux, and that makes B to be the correct option. Under inflationary environment, when the prices are increasing, Rolby profitability will be higher. Need to look no further for stable or deflationary. That makes B to be your correct option. Next question, the best answer to Borghi's question number 3. And what was question number 3? Which group of ratios usually appear more favorable with inventory write-down? Okay, so which group of ratios usually appear more favorable with an inventory write-down? Activity ratios. Activity ratios means inventory turnover, that is CGS upon inventory. Since inventory is being written down, you will have a lower denominator, so this ratio would improve. A is the answer. Why not B? Debt to equity. When inventory is written down, it's a loss, it reduces your equity. So having a lower denominator means this ratio would go up, and having a higher debt to equity ratio, it is bad. Then profitability ratios, of course, when you write off, it's a loss, your profits fall. So profitability ratios lowered are not good. So only the correct option is A. A is the right answer. Next, we have a set of questions from 49 to 55. ZP Corporation is a hypothetical multinational corporation headquartered in Japan that trades on numerous stock exchanges. ZP prepares its consolidated financial statements in accordance with the US GAAP. Excerpts from ZP's 2018 annual reports are shown in Exhibit 1 to 3. We have been given consolidated balance sheet, only the relevant part, cash and cash equivalents, inventories, total current assets, total current liabilities, long-term debt, minority interest in consolidated subsidiaries, representing the interest that we do not control, and we have total equity. Then this is your Exhibit 2, consolidated statement of income for 2016, 17 and 18, net revenues from the sale of products and financing operations, cost of products, cost of financing operations, selling and admin expense, and we have the net income numbers. Now this is management discussion and analysis given as Exhibit 3. It says cost reduction efforts were offset by increased prices of raw materials, other production materials and parts. Inventories decreased during fiscal year 2009 by 122.1 billion yens or 20.1% to 486.5 billion. This reflects the impacts of decreased sales volumes and fluctuations in the foreign currency translation rates. Further, the worldwide market for our product is highly competitive. ZP faces intense competition from other manufacturers in the respective markets in which it operates. Competition has intensified due to worldwide deterioration in economic conditions. In addition, competition is likely to further intensify because of continuing globalization, firms competing on international scale, possibly resulting in industry reorganization. Factors affecting competition include product quality and features, the amount of time required for innovation and development, pricing, reliability, safety, economy in use, customer service, and financing terms. Increased competition may lead to lower unit sales and excess production capacity and excess inventory, which could involve many costs called the carrying or holding cost, insurance of inventory, pilferage, deterioration, obsolescence, etc., etc., etc. This may result in further downward price pressures. ZP's ability to adequately respond to the recent rapid changes in the industry and to maintain its competitiveness will be fundamental to its future success in maintaining and expanding its market share in existing and new markets. Notes to consolidated financial statements. Specific part is given. Summary of significant accounting policies. Inventories are valued at cost, not in excess of market. Cost is determined on the average cost basis, except for the cost of finished products carried by certain subsidiary companies, which is determined through last in first out method basis. Inventories valued on the LIFO basis totaled 94578 million and 50037 million at 31st December 2017 and 18 respectively. Had the first in first out basis been used for those companies using LIFO basis, inventories would have been 10,120 million and 19,660 millions higher than reported at December 31st, 2017 and 18. In fact, these numbers represents your LIFO reserve at these respective years, because this represents the difference between FIFO and LIFO based inventories, and this is what you call LIFO reserve. Now, this is the detail given. Your finished goods 2017 raw material work in process and finished goods raw material and work in process in 2018. Now, starting with the first question related to the set of questions. The management discussion and analysis indicated that the prices of raw materials, other production materials and parts increased based on the inventory valuation methods described in note 2. This is your note 2. It says inventories are valued at cost, not in excess of the market. Cost is determined on the average cost basis, except for the cost of finished products, which are valued at LIFO. So it means your raw material and your work in process, it is valued at average cost method, weighted average, and the finished goods are valued at LIFO. So keeping this information in mind, which of the following inventory classification would least accurately reflect current prices? Your raw materials and work in process, it is valued at weighted average, and finished goods is valued at LIFO. Since prices are increasing, so increase in price means your latest expensive prices are being charged to CGS, which means your closing stock would be valued at the oldest prices, because last in first out expensive items are being charged to production, whereas your older stock or older prices under the LIFO cost flow assumption, it will be in the closing stock. So this is more inappropriate. Which inventory classification would least accurately reflect current prices? That is finished goods under LIFO. That makes B to be the correct option. Next, the 2017 inventory value as reported on the 2018 annual report, if the company had used FIFO inventory valuation method instead of LIFO inventory valuation for the portion of its inventory, would have been closest to, going back to the numbers given here in these exhibits. Okay, here we go. Not here. Yes, here we go. This is the stock, 608,572 millions yen. And for 2017, our LIFO reserve is 10,120 million yens, and for 2018 it is 19,660 million. Remember, the question explicitly required for 2017, so we have taken the numbers accordingly. We have taken our inventory in 2017 608,572. To this we need to add our LIFO reserve, which is 10,120. So adding this will give us 618,692. That should be the correct option, and that is C. All right, next question. If ZP had prepared its financial statement in accordance with IFRS, the inventory turnover for 2018 would have been higher or lower. So let us first calculate the inventory turnover based upon the given numbers, and these are the given numbers. This is our CGS for 2018, and let us take it there where we need it. So existing inventory turnover is 5822805 divided by average inventory. Average inventory 608,572 plus 486,465 upon 2. This will give us the average. So dividing CGS with the average inventory should give you 10.63. This is under the existing LIFO based system. 10.63. Now Let us do it under FIFO based. So for FIFO based, we need to make some adjustments in the numerator as well as in the denominator. How we will adjust the numerator? The numerator contains CGS under LIFO, and it has to be adjusted for FIFO. For that, we need to adjust it for FIFO reserve, LIFO reserve. There is no FIFO reserve. So these are the numbers of LIFO reserve: 10, 120, 19, 660. Let us write them there. So we have the opening balance of LIFO reserve as 10, 120, and the closing balance of LIFO reserve was 19, 660. That's what we need. Now for FIFO based CGS, we will have to add the change in LIFO reserve. What is the change? 19,660 minus 10120. This is the numerator adjusted. Now the numerator will give you the CGS based on FIFO. In the denominator, this is your inventory at the start, 608572. To this we had to add the opening balance of LIFO reserve, which is 10120. This is your opening inventory, now converted to FIFO based, plus your closing stock is 465, and to this we add the closing balance for LIFO reserve, 19660. So this is now the opening FIFO based and closing FIFO based. Adding these and dividing with 2 will give you the average inventory. Now solution of all these would be, let me pause and put the numbers. It's 10.34, which means your inventory turnover has fallen, and that means our result would be A, lower. Inventory levels decreased from 2017 to 2018 for all of the following reasons, except fluctuation in foreign currency translation rates. That was one of the reasons, if you remember, in the given information. Let me show you. This reflects the impacts of decreased sales volumes and fluctuations in the foreign currency translation rates. So it means it affected our sales. So this could be the reason. Decreased sales volume, it was there. LIFO liquidation, no, this is not the reason. There is no LIFO liquidation. How do we know? Because the LIFO reserve has increased over the period from 10,120 million yens to 19,660 million. There has been an increase in LIFO reserve, so saying LIFO liquidation is wrong. This is not the cause. So this is our correct option then, A. Next question, 53. Which observation is most likely a result of looking only at the information reported in note 9? This is your note 9 here. Now what do we see here? The inventory level has fallen for finished goods, for raw material, and work in process is slightly higher. So this contraction in finished goods and raw materials tells us something serious. Finished goods and raw materials inventories are lower in 2018 than in 2017. So this means that the business is expecting some downturn, some contraction in the sales. Since we needed to give our judgment based only upon looking at the exhibit 9 or note 9, so that's what we can expect. There is no detail in note 9 regarding lower unit sales and competition or significant price increases in supplies. Just basing our conclusion based upon note 9, management expects a further downturn in sales during 2010, and hence they have lowered the level of outputs and they have started buying less raw materials. That makes C to be the correct option. Next, note 2 indicates that the inventories valued on LIFO basis totaled this at the start and this at the year end. The 2017 and 18. 2017 number is 94,578 and 2018 that is 50,037 respectively. Based on this number, the LIFO reserve should most likely, since the inventories have fallen, so the LIFO reserve should decrease. When the inventories level fall, LIFO reserve reduces, so that should reduce. Decrease is the right answer. Next question, the industry and business risk extract states that increased competition may lead to lower unit sales and excess production capacity and excess inventory. This may result in further downward price pressure. This downward price pressure could lead to inventory that is valued above current market prices or net realizable value. Any write down of inventory are least likely to have significant effect on the inventory valued using what? Now, if the prices have been decreasing, write down under FIFO are least likely to have any significant effect. Why? Because under FIFO, first in, first out, the oldest cost have already been charged to CGS. Inventories are already at the current prices, so it won't have any effect on FIFO. So that makes B to be the correct option. And it ends all your EOC questions. This was the last question.